Right, well, it is time now to meet Nevşah Fidan Karamemet. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Saturday.
Oh, thank you very much. Happy Saturday to you. So tell Britain, what is your job?
My job is I'm a breathing scientist.
Right. Could you tell us what that is?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've been researching on dysfunctional breathing habits people have for over 15 years. So we all are breathing. But the thing is, breathing is a behavioral habit, like all behavioral habits, and it is learned unconsciously. So you might be breathing totally wrong during the day, which might be the reason of, maybe around 200 symptoms you might have, like migraine, headaches, attention deficit problems. Because what happens is when we breathe wrong, for example, when we overbreathe, the chemistry in our body changes, and then we have low oxygen levels in our brain, in our blood, in our cells, which leads to attention deficit problems, chronic fatigue, pain, headaches, migraine, and a lot of other symptoms. So I've been helping people.
So let me just try to understand this, because I know Dr. Rene has some experience of this. Just in terms of the physiology, I mean, people breathe. It's an unconscious. It's a brainstem reflex. You have to breathe or we'd be dead. So people breathe, and you're saying that many people are breathing incorrectly.
Yeah, actually, what is a brainstem reflex? Our respiration is a brainstem reflex. We are all breathing, and our respiration system is working. If we are not, dead, yes. We are obviously breathing. But the thing is, during the day, when we face symptoms, or when we face with triggers, for example, when we are in fear or when we are too anxious, we start changing our breath. We change, we sometimes breathe faster, sometimes too deep, too shallow, and we change it without knowing it. So it's kind of like we work against the respiratory reflexes, and that's what causes the problem.
So I have so many questions, and then I'll pass over to Dr. Rene. But so we're meant to be breathing through our noses and exhaling through our mouths. Many of us don't do that, do we?
Yeah, when you look at an individual during the day, we breathe in all the ways. There are sometimes we breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the mouth. We sometimes breathe from the mouth, for example, when we're exercising, especially if we are doing a professional sports, we tend to breathe from our mouth because the respiratory reflexes kick in when the body releases too much lactic acid to compensate that acid. So there are all kinds of different breathing ways that are reflexive. And then there are some ways we do breathe for psychological reasons. And those are, the times when our breathing habits work against the respiratory reflexes, which causes the problem. So we are not always breathing aligned with what our body needs. So that's the problem. So our body's physiological need is another reflex. And then we tend to take control of the breathing because of some psychological issues and change our breathing without even recognizing, and that changes our respiratory chemistry and physiology and starts causing problems.
Right, so I've got Dr. Rene with me, who's grinning at me, and the reason is because I'm just going to ask it outright. Is this hocus pocus?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's So
explain, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's one of the alternative, obviously, medicines, as it were, because that's where it tends to sit. But I only became aware of this not long ago because my mother, bless her, gave me a book called Breathe, which I'm sure you know, Nevşah.
Yeah,
and she'd actually read the book and she said it changed her life.
Really?
So she said that she was tired every day because when she woke up, she'd been mouth breathing all night, so her mouth was dry, and she had sinus problems. And the book recommended putting a small piece of medical tape across her lips to stop that automatic thing happening when she was sleeping.
Of her mouth dropping open.
Yes, and she did that, and it changed her sleep. She was sleeping much better. Her sinus problems weren't so bad. So she gave it to me because obviously I suffer, as you know, from sinus problems, and I've yet to actually actually put into place many of the things that it recommends. But I don't think it is
Did you
hocus
put tape
pocus.
over your mouth?
No, I haven't, because you'd love that, and I wouldn't be able to talk here.
That's like a present.
But I do think, I mean, look, we tell people when they're having mental health issues to actually embrace some breathing techniques that actually just slow everything down, and to be able to think about their breathing rather than just getting on with whatever's triggering them. So I think there is lots behind this, and I think lots of people could actually just have a skirt around the edges.
So, Nevşah, so when someone comes to see you, so do you take a full medical history, do you, as well?
No.
Okay,
no,
so
we just analyze their breathing habits from the start. We work with capnographs. We sometimes just do a behavioral analysis. We have an app called BreathHub. People go on the app and take a quick, research, kind of like a survey to understand how they are breathing, and then they go on to a customized journey. So we basically do a behavioral analysis, because breathing is behavioral.
So, and what's the most common complaint that you actually treat?
Migraines, headache, and attention deficit problems, I would say, or neck pain, shoulder pain, everything related with pain, because pain is very much, related to how well you are breathing, and also anything related to attention deficit problems. If you don't have an organic problem in your brain, and if you're having problems with, reading, focusing, concentration issues, it might be because you're not breathing well and you don't have enough oxygen in the brain.
It's just so interesting. And in terms of your success rates, how successful are you?
Sorry.
I'm a startup founder right now, so we have, with the BreathHub, we have over 10,000 people using the app, and I have trained over 40,000 people in the past 15 years, certified over 2,000 breath workers. I have 12 books, a few of them bestsellers, and that's where I am.
Nevşah, how did you get into it? That has to be the question.
Yeah. Of course, with personal reasons, because I was, my background is behavioral health sciences, and I was very much interested in, how people are behaving in, certain, how does the things trigger in our lives, the behaviors. And then I understood that during my trainings, I understood that breathing was a big part of our behavioral habits, and breathing is also a behavioral habit. And I started with personal reasons, because in my 20s, I was feeling depressed. I was kind of feeling lost, too much going on in my life. I didn't have any time to just stop and check in with myself. And I didn't know where that depression was coming from, because I didn't have a real, traumatic experience. And then I, dived deep into breathing, because I was feeling something happening in my breath. So when people, pay attention, they can feel that whenever they are depressed or anxious, something is changing in their breathing. It's like we get stuck first in our breathing, and then we get stuck in our lives. It's not the opposite, actually. Yeah, and then I realized there was something wrong with my breathing, and I started working on it, analyzing, going to workshops, and getting a training, and then I combined everything.
And the rest is history. Nevşah, it's been a great pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to quiz Dr. Rennie about it a little more thoroughly as well. So that's Nevşah Fidan Karamemet there, who is a breathing sciences expert.